In order for me to accurately start testing this auction machine with different buckets, I need to make that easy. So we need to get this quick coupler on here. If you need to install a quick coupler or just want to see how it's done, stick around and we'll do it together. Hey everybody, it's Earl from Earl House, and today I'm going to show you guys how we're going to take off the bucket, how we're going to install this quick coupler. I'm going to break down the quick coupler so you can see why it wasn't ready right from the way I got it, give you some measurements on that. We're going to then reinstall everything, make sure it fits, and then I'm going to talk about why, although this style quick couplers, they all look the same, when in fact they're not. So stick around with me and we'll get to it. I'm wearing a new chest mount. We're going to see how that works and if that makes it easier for you guys to see and for me to work with my hands here. So I believe this is probably a 32 millimeter, which I don't have, but the 1 1/4 works just fine. I notice here too, it's interesting, this has only got 3 washers on it and this has got 4. All right, so I'll get our washers off, come around, great. And now we got the bolt retainers. These buckets aren't all that heavy, so I'm not worried about having to lift it down. I just know that from experience. Now, put a little more muscle on that with a wrench. There we go. It's not a long job to get everything out that you need. All right, let's see how these come out. Actually, I think I'm going to use the nut on it to start it, so we don't bugger up any of the threads. Yeah, not a big deal. These are in there. It's because this hasn't been used at all. There's no debris or anything in there yet. Soon enough. All right, let's get the bottom one out first. There it goes. Yep. And this one, get that off. I'll make sure that I don't drop this bucket on my foot. Be the end of a good video. Let's get it in here. There we go. Off she goes. So I had to break this down because it was not ready to be used the way it was, because it was sitting outside for so long. And you're going to see on some of my overlays here, right? This was literally painted right to the edge, so I couldn't get that open, so I used good old plumber's torch to break the paint up a little bit and then work it out. Had to use some WD-40 to get into the set screw. Then I lubed up the main screw there, and then it had this style grease fitting. I opted to change it over to the Zerk. These are M10s as far as the thread pattern. And in case you're wondering, for the retaining bolts that go through here, the head size is 14 millimeter. I just want to go over some measurements with you guys. Not so much The basics, we know that the pins are 25 millimeters. These are going to fit your 0.8 to your 1.2 tons. And this is more about installation than it is anything else. But let's just look at measurements. And I think the reason I want to get into that is we're going to talk at the end of the video about why I see differences in prices on these things. So the width of the most, we'll call it the side structural steel. If you see that, it is roughly 3/8. It's roughly 3/8. Switch that over to millimeters. Let's open that up a little bit with the paint and everything. It's probably close to 10 millimeters. The sliding jaws, or the jaw area here, it goes from about 21 millimeters to 13/16 on the more robust area, to about ½ inch here, which is about 13 millimeters there. The one that moves is thinner. The outer portion being about 8 millimeters, 9/32. But here where it's reinforced, it's definitely thicker at about 9/16, or we'll call it about 14 millimeters. And we're going to measure the ears here in, they are about 6 millimeters, or fractionally 15/64. So there you have it. That is the thickness measurements on this. What I'm going to do now is get it back together, install it on the auction machine.
So I've sped this up because you do not want to do what I did, which is put this on backwards. You'll see in the next segment how I've corrected it. The overall idea of getting the pins in and everything is right, but you waste a lot of time if you put it on the wrong way. So just be careful of that.
All right, everybody, I'm back. I actually had to turn this around because basically you want to have the fixed side with the castle nut on the inside. This way, when you're changing equipment and so forth, you're able to use this nut from the outside in order to move the jaw. Plus, it makes sense that you're going to hook the first pin on the bucket to here anyway, so that it can dangle, which is, I'll show you what I mean by that. So all right, let me get the next part of this in.
So here I just get the pin back in. I did take the Zerk fitting off the end because I wouldn't want to damage it trying to go through the other way. It took a little bit with the hammer to get it in. I should have used some grease or some WD-40 or something like that. It would have made it a little bit easier on the second pin. But all in all, it is really not that difficult in order to get this in. And I really just cost myself more time, like I said, by having put this in the wrong way originally.
All right, we're back. I've got everything reinstalled for the quick coupler. I know you guys, some of you are going to say, oh, these protrude and the other ones are better. We'll see how that goes. If that's a problem, we'll take them off and we'll go the other way. And then off camera, I put the pins in, and now we're going to get the bucket on. I find it's just as easy to do this by hand as it is to do it any other way. So I just pick it up, cradle this in here, and then we'll come around, grab the impact gun, and zip it up. Interestingly enough, too, is you are going to need these grease pins or these grease fittings in these pins, because what winds up happening here is the grease fitting that is down here could no longer be accessed because the quick coupler is in the way. So you're going to have to come in through here anyway. This one, you got choices. You can come in from the side, or This one is still accessible. So either way, these, since there's these are not greasable pins. These you're going to just have to slather a little grease on manually whenever you use it. All right, so what we're going to do now is fire the excavator up and just make sure that with the quick coupler on, the curl has no issues. So let me get this on, choke it a little bit. I don't want to fill up my garage with too much exhaust, so we're not going to do this very long. All right, let's take a look at the curl. The curl is in all the way, and you can see there's a gap right between the bracket and this. So, I mean, there could be a thumb issue. I don't know, but I can tell you, with just having a quick coupler on, there's no issue that way. And out that way, you're good as well. All right, let's just take a second to talk about the differences. And I'm not talking about the style here. I'm just talking about the differences in build quality on this exact style quick coupler. It's just like the rake. If you see my rake fail video, it's just like the excavators themselves. There's qualities all over the place. So I was seeing on eBay, there was a whole bunch of $45 to $60 quick couplers that are equivalent to this. I paid $100 at the auction for this one, and I had to look and see what the difference was. So take a look at the screen, and I'm going to show you. You're going to see some real differences in between, and I'll point them out.
So you're going to see in this one that because the tape measure is there, I was able to use artificial intelligence to approximate the thickness there, and it's coming out to approximately 3/8 or 8 millimeters, which is 2 millimeters or a size thinner than the one that I bought. And here you're going to see that the width of the moving jaw is not even the full width of the pin as opposed to the one that I have. So these differences obviously are reflected in the price, and it's something for you guys to keep in mind when looking to purchase one of these.
It's just like anything else. You got to do a little bit of research to make sure that you're getting what you think you're getting. And I just want to point that out so that, kind of buyer beware on that. So as always, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video, which hopefully will be the results of the oil analysis, provided I get that back in time. See you then. Bye.